Rajat, our next speaker, is the founder of Bunchball, who was actually really one of the pioneering solutions providers for gamification. So please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. Am I on? Am I on? Am I on? Yeah, sounds like I'm on. Okay, welcome, fellow colleagues of Aperture Science. I went to a conference recently called the Gamification Summit, and I learned a lot about this new technique, this new theory for engaging users called gamification. And I thought it was really important that we all understand it, that this has the capability to transform our business, both our consumer-facing business, our partners, and our employees. And so that's why I asked you all here today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rajat Paharia. I'm a product manager in the Portal business unit. And so what I want to do is just really quickly run you through everything I learned at the Gamification Summit and talk about how this is going to impact our business at Aperture Science. So first off, the problem. Our big problem is that we're struggling with our constituents to make them more active and loyal, right? Aperture Media is actually out there in the world dealing with customers on the web. There are 500 million websites out there with 30 million new ones every day, and they've got to compete against all that. How do you get anybody to pay any attention to your stuff, to participate, to be active, or to be loyal in that kind of context where there's so much going on? Second, with partners. Everybody is trying to leverage partners as a distribution channel right now, right? That's the best way to get to market, is leverage the partner channel. But everybody's competing for the same resources. Black Mesa, our biggest competitor, is out there using the same distributors we are. So how do we get those distributors to pay attention to our message and to sell our stuff? And then finally, with employees. Disengagement inside the company, lack of utilization of software tools, all these things are costing billions of dollars a year, according to Gallup and other industries. And so there's a huge opportunity there to engage our employees more and see more business value. So with that, what is the big opportunity space? Well, we're living our lives completely online right now. Everything we do is being mediated by technology. Our work life, our entertainment life, our communication and community life, our finance life, all of it's being mediated by technology. And what that means is it's generating tons of data, right? And this data isn't the kind of stuff that I'm manually inputting. It's data that's being generated as a byproduct of me utilizing these systems. And certain companies have figured out how to take this data, loyalty programs, frequent flyer programs, even things like Mint and Weight Watchers, how to take this data and how to use it to drive higher value activity and loyalty amongst their customers, but they've been doing it in a one-off way. And so that's where gamification comes in. We can take this new paradigm, this new way of interacting with users, and use it to consume this big data that's coming out of all these systems and use it to motivate and drive high value activity and loyalty. So so we're all on the same page here, what gamification is, it's about using these techniques that game designers have used for years. Goal setting, real-time feedback, competition, teams, leveling up, transparency, taking all these out of the gaming world and applying them in order to drive high-value activity and loyalty. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, gamification, what a silly-sounding word, what does that mean? It's too trivial for my company. Other ways to think about what gamification is are recognition and reward, measure and motivate, loyalty, reputation. These are all things that matter to people, and if you take them and apply them in the right way, using gamification, which is really just a method for doing all those, you can drive dramatic business results. And this stuff is everywhere out in the world. Before you say, like, this isn't for me and isn't for us, the Boy Scouts in the military have used this stuff for years, right, with badges that mean nothing, that have no dollar value to them, but just by a shared understanding of what that symbol means, have an incredible amount of power in that community. Belts in karate, and even so far as like GE with Six Sigma and black belts, right? Here are very serious people in various serious companies going through process improvement, and they are leveling up by getting different colored belts. And then the workplace, right? The work is full of this kind of stuff. Here's a business card, vice president. So let's say somebody is the senior vice president of X, Y, and Z at a company, and you go up to them and you say, look, your job responsibilities are going to stay the same, your direct reports are going to stay the same, your salary is going to stay the same. All I'm going to do is cross the senior off your card. That's it. Nothing else changes. Imagine the dramatic impact that that has, right? You haven't taken away anything of any real value, but you've taken away something of real perceived value. Employee of the Month, leaderboards inside a company. This is XM satellite radio going public, and the tombstones or badges that signify that accomplishment. All this stuff is out there in the workplace today. And then we see it in our consumer lives too, right? And loyalty programs. Here's Starbucks, where I can earn gold status by buying 30 different Starbucks transactions. And so this stuff is everywhere, and you're already participating in it, no doubt maybe even 10 or 20 times in a year in different programs. So, and this stuff is made to be used across all the different touch points that your customer talks to you at, whether it's their enterprise software platform, whether it's a consumer touch point, a mobile touch point, Facebook or Twitter or our own website. We can use this any different way that our customer touches us. And a lot of companies are doing this today. I mean, you see this like laundry list of big, major Fortune 500 companies that are using gamification, using these techniques to drive activity and loyalty amongst their constituents. And this includes major media brands, it includes car manufacturers, it includes audio equipment manufacturers, software companies. Anybody who has any of those constituents to motivate, we can motivate them. And our competitors are doing this, right? If you look at everything that the analysts are saying, Constellation, Gartner, et cetera, this stuff is going to be pervasive in the enterprise. And if we don't do this, our competitors will. So it's going to be our competitive advantage to get there first and use these techniques. So, colleagues at Aperture, this is our future. This is what we call the engaged enterprise, right? And this is how we're going to motivate and drive and engage our customers, partners, and employees. And so let's look first at the customer space. There's lots of different ways that companies have used this to motivate and engage their customers. In the upper left-hand corner, Bravo built a fan engagement program for the TV show Top Chef, where they were engaging fans to come to the website and engage with all the content that was there. Content creation, content consumption, content sharing. For content and media sites, it's all about that because that drives ad revenue. In the upper right-hand corner, Adobe with Photoshop. So Photoshop, very complex piece of software. And you're an amateur photographer, you download a copy of Photoshop because you want to do something to a photo. It takes you 50 minutes to do that, to get it down and install it. You open it up and you're faced with blank white canvas with 10,000 panels, menus, and buttons. And you have a 30-day free trial. What's the likelihood that you're going to convert and buy that product at the end of the 30 days? Right now it's very low. But what they did was they have gamified the onboarding and tutorial process to teach people how to use Photoshop in a completely different way, and they've seen a huge increase in the number of people actually purchasing Photoshop at the end of the 30-day trial. In the bottom right-hand corner, Hope Lab, getting kids to exercise more. Tweens, 10 to 14-year-olds, lower socioeconomic strata, primarily girls getting hit by the obesity epidemic really hard. How do you get them to exercise more? Hope Lab has built an activity monitor. Kids plug onto their belt, run around all day, uploads their activity data, and then they earn points that they can redeem for virtual or physical goods. And they've been able to show a 30% increase in activity amongst those tweens, the equivalent of them running an extra marathon every month. And then in the bottom left, Chiquita doing a marketing campaign around the movie Rio, and they were able to drive moms and kids to interact together around this campaign and drive an 800% increase in traffic year over year and get the whole community engaged together to unlock sweepstakes prizes. And then finally, Warner Brothers, powering their entire loyalty program using a gamified system, being very forward-thinking a couple of years ago and realizing that loyalty wasn't just a function of how many dollars somebody spent with you, but was also a function of online activity and engagement. Watching trailers, playing games, sharing to the social networks, that stuff was valuable, that attention was a currency that they could be tracking and rewarding people with, and it's led to huge increases in sales of Warner Brothers product. So this is how the consumer area can go and how our consumer division can go and apply game mechanics. Next up, we have partners. So how do you get, if you've got independent contractors or channel partners, how do you get them to be more engaged and loyal to you versus the competitors? How do you get them going through training, through certification, and to perform better? So here's a case study of a company called LiveOps, distributed call center company, 20,000 distributed call center agents. And they needed to figure out how do we get these people motivated to go through training and through certification so that they can do their jobs better. They integrated gamification into an internal work community that all these agents could use, and they were able to reduce onboarding time dramatically. Agents that had gone through this performed better, and this actually won a Chief Learning Officer Gold Award last year for innovation. So companies are doing this. They are taking this technology, bringing it into their enterprises, and using it to motivate partners. And then finally, with employees. So first off, there's a company called Blue Wolf. Blue Wolf is a consultancy, 350 people working in the Salesforce and other arenas, and their consultants are their lifeblood, right? Most consultancies try and black box everything. They don't want to expose their consultants because then that makes them ripe for poaching. Blue Wolf has taken the exact opposite approach. We want our consultants to be out there in the world. We want them broadcasting via social media because we only have a small internal marketing team. If all our consultants are building their brands, then they're also building the Blue Wolf brand. And so Blue Wolf built a campaign called Going Social to get these 350 agents to increase Blue Wolf's social media reputation. And they saw huge increases in social sharing, 80% increase in blog traffic directly from social media, 45% increase in web traffic, and a 57% increase in their internal Salesforce chatter activity. So just using these gamification elements, goal setting, real-time feedback, competition, etc., they are able to drive a massive increase in social media utilization. And then at Ford Canada, in this case, you've got distributed reps at dealerships that need to be trained on the new model year products every year. And so they go through a portal called the Professional Performance Program. And Ford Canada's desire, working with their partner Merits, was to drive people into this portal to get them to engage more with the content there and to drive certification speed so that more people will get certified by the deadline. And by gamifying this program, you can see that month over month from the launch in January, they got successively more and more engagement with the program as the reps engaged with this thing, and 10% more sales reps are certified by the deadline than the previous year. So they saw specific, definite improvements in their key metrics. And then there's a quote actually down there at the bottom from a longtime Ford rep. I've been with Ford for 13 years and have found so much more information or a way to get that information just by playing. I never realized that we were able to access the information that we can. The same kind of thing happens all the time. People don't have the time or the interest to explore systems on their own. If you can amplify and guide that desire, get them to explore these things, then there can be huge gains. So look, we're at this intersection of all these interesting macro trends, right? Big data that's being generated out of all these systems, workforce analytics, all this data that's being generated by my employees, how can I use it to figure out how to motivate and engage my employees better? The cloud, SaaS, consumerization of IT, apps, it's all playing together, and we have this opportunity at the company to take advantage of that, to take gamification to make us an engaged enterprise. So what I think the next step should be here at the company for all of us is I'll distribute this deck to anybody who wants it, and I'll be the point person. So if you have any gamification projects that you think would be interesting, that could benefit from this, reach out to me directly and I'll coordinate. We'll figure out a spec, we'll figure out the business objectives, we'll get aligned with the right people, and we'll figure out how to power up and light up our enterprise, our customers, our employees, and our partners. And just as a reminder, before I forget, it's Gladys's birthday and there's cake in the break room, so please be sure to check it out. Thank you. So this whole thing was like, I was performance art. How do you do this in front of your actual company? And hopefully that message has resonated. If you want a copy of this deck, please reach out to us. You can either go to this website and sign up or come by our booth, and we can get you a copy of this that you can take and use as your own with whatever content that you want. And also, please feel free to check out, like we're constantly blogging and putting white papers up at gamification.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajat. Does anybody have any questions about this awesome pitch?
Any questions on any of that?
Or are you all just wanting to get to the party?
Or you just go get a drink. Good.
Well, Rajat and his team will be at their booth. If nobody has questions right now, please make sure you stop by and say hello to them. Thank you so much, Rajat. And the party's going to start. So it's just going to be on that other side of the curtain. And for the next couple hours, we're also going to have the GSummit Gamification Awards tonight. So hope you'll stick around. Thanks, everyone.